Hello humans and other species. I'm Betsy, and I know I haven't uploaded a lot lately. Today we will be having a tour around the server, checking out all of the cool stuff that people has made, and I will also take the chance to explain what has been going on and where we headed next. But before any of that, let's start at the very beginning. This is where the first episodes happened, or at least the very few segments of the first episode. Spawn is right over there, where those cherry blossom trees are. I came here just to have a corner to fish, while I was checking on the stability of the server during the first weekend. There are still some items left behind from all the fishing of that weekend, and I guess some other random junk that we've got along the way. I always find it funny to leave the first night hole untouched. It really shows how far we have gone since then. I believe this sign was made by Dam. It's meant to show the height of my character compared to the others. Although it's a bit sad that I can't even reach the mark. But speaking of Dam, they didn't play a whole lot this last season, but they did make a little garden here. This was basically the only food we had early on, aside from the fish. And they also made this cute little tree house. I always enjoyed how it's not just a house stuck on top of a tree. It actually wraps around the tree, and there are stairs and all inside the tree itself. Not a whole lot going on in terms of like storage barrels or crafting tables or anything, but I honestly like this tree house. I feel like this could be a really good concept for a starter base, especially someone my size. By that I mean that narrow stairs and small spaces are plenty big for someone this short. Maybe next season I could do something along these lines. Then we have Spawn, which ended up looking super cute, with all of the cherry blossom trees, the little benches, and whatnot. I believe 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 made all of this. I'm not sure if other members made further additions later on, but I think it's looking quite nice as it is. I did added this platform at the beginning, mostly as an excuse to add this portal onto it. This is the portal that leads to the creative dimension. The idea was that instead of going to single player, you would come to this dimension to test stuff or whatever, while you can still chat with the rest. Underneath is the actual spawn. This is the beach where we all started, and where we had a massive elephant invasion early on. In general, I'm pretty happy with this area. It's not the most insane server spawn, but I like how everything tied together. It ended up being quite colorful, and I think the darker blocks underneath makes it for a nice transition. This board is a leaderboard for the most amount of deaths in the server, which 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 seemed to be well on the lead. I guess it's a good thing that this server isn't hardcore. At the other side of these paths, we also have this cool-looking greenhouse, also made by 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬. In case someone started on the server, this way they have something to get them going. It's mostly some fields to get the basic food and seeds. Then there are a few workstations and stuff like cooking pots. Basically, so people can get started more easily, at least when it comes to food. It's a pretty neat greenhouse, to be honest. And I think this is something I want to expand upon for the next season. Having more things at spawn for new members. Maybe even have create machines and stuff like that. The basic things to get people started. But this leads us to Happy's church. She has been streaming on the server every Monday. I'm not entirely sure how this church thing started, but I believe the deal was that snakes kept killing people at spawn, so they started treating snakes like deities, giving them offerings and stuff so the snakes wouldn't kill them. Though as a side note, I really like this garden. Or, well, the surroundings of the church. I think that Happy did a lovely job with the terraforming, and I kinda like how the vines spread everywhere. It looks cool in a way. Happy did a good job with the church. But as I was saying, it started with the snakes. I believe these are some offering to the snake, since the hooks from aquaculture kinda look like snakes. See, snake charm. I guess that's meant to use as protection against the snakes maybe. I think I probably missed several steps on how this came to be, but that's more or less what I recall from the first stream she did. It's meant to be an agnostic church, hence the question marks around, that I do remember. Then there is this little box where she lived the first days, but I believe she ended up making a proper house somewhere. Oh, we have a train passing by. I think except for the Green Dragoon one, the rest of the trains are all made by AJ. They are a local train enthusiast. They make really cool trains though. They're really nice to see. And this should be Happy's current house. Most of the storage and other stuff is underground, but I think it's quite cute what she did on the overground. I like how the house is all divided by fences. I really like that detail for some reason. Oh look, she even made a little bit of create. Collecting cactus. I guess to get green dye from them, though I'm not sure what she is using green dye for. But I honestly really like this idea of dividing things with fences, even inside your own land. I think it kind of makes sense. People generally don't have one external fence and nothing else. At least when it comes to farms and things like that, there are usually more fences, walls, and things going on. Anyway, we also have this majestic monument. Here I'm really not sure how this came about, but Happy has been making a monument of herself. By the time this video is uploaded, the monument might be finished already. This recording is a few weeks old, but I think it looks somewhat complete. At the top, she is making a straw hat, which I'm pretty sure that one is fully done by now. I honestly have been thinking of bringing this monument to the world for season 4. Maybe not even tell where it is. Just randomly place it somewhere, see if anyone can find it while exploring. I think that could be a fun meme.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Yeah, and times are changing everywhere. Do we dream and do we dare? It's up to you, the door is open wide. Feel the rhythm of today, learn the part and join the play. The world is here, let's take it for a ride. You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could. Larger, larger than, bigger, bigger than, living hopes and dreams. Every boy and girl, higher, higher than, brighter, brighter than, all you wanted. You know, you could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. Larger, larger, bigger, living hopes and dreams. Every boy, you could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted. You know you could.
Quite the range of amazing bases, wasn't it? And there are plenty more to check. But first, a little word of why we are here and what comes next. And while we do that, I will show around this place. It's not done at all, and there are too many empty spaces to properly show it on a cinematic, so this is a good way of hitting two birds with one stone. I guess since there are some builds missing, I should start there. So after coming back from the convention, I had a week filled with medical appointments, had no time to make a video for a second week in a row. Then during the weekend, the computer decided to break. Specifically, the CPU exploded. I had to buy another CPU, and sure enough, days later I had one, and I was able to replace it with no issue. But then my drive got corrupted during the process, so I had to reinstall all of my editing software, all the games, all the drives, everything. And of course, my Minecraft world got lost, so the two builds that I didn't have the time to move into the live server got lost. That happened over the span of an entire week of installing and fixing stuff. I was able to more or less release a short video, but that was after 3 weeks of no content. By now you might be thinking, okay Batsy, that video was almost a month ago, so what happened since? Well, the day after uploading that video, I've got pretty sick, and 3 weeks later, I still am sick. It's the reason why this video is taking so long. I'm not working more than an hour or two every day, but I'm almost fully recovered by now. This past few days, I have been able to progress a lot, and that's where we are right now. Part of me wants to finish this island, but another part of me just wants a new and fresh start, to be honest. It's not like I'm not inspired or anything, it's just that after so much stuff that happened, I just feel like starting again, and hopefully with a clear mind. I mentioned it with my supporters, and they were all on board to have a new season, so that's what is going to happen. Once I'm done working on the server tour, and I'm able to set up the new world, we will be having a brand new start, and hopefully an epic one. I have some interesting ideas for the new server, and some neat concepts of what builds I'm going to do. But for the time being, let's go check some more bases, shall we?
I'm dreaming wide awake. This is the life I make. I don't need a holiday to make me feel this way. Listen up, take a chance. You can sing, you can dance, you can live like there's no tomorrow. Give it time and you'll find there's a rule, there's a rhyme. Move along and the rest will follow. We still want more. No one can take away the dreams we have today. Yeah, you can go with the flow, don't you see, don't you know there's a light, let it burn inside you. You can shout, let it out, not a care, not a doubt, this is it, let the moment guide you. I want you to know. Oh yeah. We shine like stars. We shine like stars. We shine like stars. We shine. But here we go now. We shine like stars. We shine
courage to the test, laid all your doubts to rest. Your mind is clearer than before, your heart is full and wanting more, your future's at the door. Give it all you got, no hesitating, you've been waiting all your life. This is your moment. This is your moment in time. This is your moment. This is your moment to shine, to shine, to shine. So shine on. And every time you hit the wall, remember you can have it all, even the mighty fall. It's closer than it's ever been, and now it's more than just a win. It's where your life begins, yeah. There's no holding back, no overthinking. You've been reaching all your life. This is your moment. This is your moment in time. This is your moment. This is your moment to shine, to shine, to shine. This is your moment. You got to give it all that you got. Don't hesitate and don't ever stop. You spent a lifetime waiting for this day. This is your moment. Now's not the time for you to hold back. Don't overthink, it's time to react. The moment has come, don't let it slip away, away, away. It's closer than it's ever been, and now it's more than just a win. It's where your life begins.
As I was editing those cinematics, it made me realize how long it actually takes. Also, how much video time each bass needs. I thought I would be able to fit 4 or 5 basses in each song, so my idea was to have maybe 3 songs, and that would cover most of it. I think at the end I have been adding 2 basses per song, and that already means skipping parts of the basses. And the editing, that has been surprisingly slow too. I usually make a time lapse with a couple of extra fancy shots of whatever we made that episode. That doesn't take too long to make, but here we have many clips that are barely few seconds long, and everything needs to be properly synced with the music and whatnot. It really surprised me how slow and long of a process this is. I think last season was faster to edit because I used much longer clips. But I honestly like this style better. I think it goes much smoother with the songs I'm using. But anyway, we have a bass in front of us. This was made by Rose. I thought it would be a nice change from all the music to go look at some basses manually. And I think Rose had the same issue as me. Because the bass isn't fully done yet, it has some gaps between the buildings, so it makes it harder to properly use on a cinematic. At least harder unless I make close shots of all the buildings. But what's the point of a big bass like this one if we make close shots of everything? Me rambling aside, the bass is pretty cool though. It doesn't have many farms or machines around, but I kinda like the focus on the buildings and aesthetic stuff. It's been fun for me to go through all the basses to see what each member likes to focus on. Water Guy, for example, I was surprised at the attention to detail. There really wasn't a corner without a rock or a bush or anything to tidy it up. Everything felt like it was placed with purpose. Here, for example, is a bit different. It feels like the focus is the scale. Maybe to show that not everything needs to be stuck together and that adding big fields and plains can give a very natural look too. That, or I'm talking nonsense and they simply didn't have the time to fill up all of this. It's kind of the funny part about it. We can speculate all day long, but only they know the why. I think this town could have been amazing because the houses themselves do look pretty good. It's only the empty spaces that doesn't make it justice. One thing I will say, and maybe it also serves as a tip for others that are planning on making a town or something, I would try to work more on the verticality, especially for something as big as this. What do I mean by that? If we take a look from this angle, for example, there are buildings that we can see from here. They look good, and it gives a good perspective on the distance and the scale of this build. The problem comes when you add anything to this massive field. The moment you add a house, or even just some trees, the view will start to get blocked because everything is fairly flat. It's more obvious if we go to the same angle again. You can imagine now how adding a few trees is already going to block most of the view. And the trees wouldn't even need to be that tall. We would either need to raise the ground or make the faraway builds be taller. So when we add stuff in front, there is still verticality allowing us to fully see the scale of things. Of course, we could simply move those sheep somewhere else and that would help, but we don't want to remove things. If there was no sheep, we would still want to have something in this corner to fill it up. The base obviously still looks amazing, and we can always come to a higher point to get a better perspective and fully grasp the entire area. But there is even more to see in the server. Let's tune some music and see what other wonders await us.
Free as a bird in the sky, that is what you are. Breathe and you know you're alive. Feel the beat of your heart. Well, life is a crazy way of turning everything upside down. So move with the time that you have. The world will keep spinning round. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing the sunshine and go out and play. Listen, I wanna be there with you no matter where you go. Life is a table for two, and we're starting the show. Well, I'm gonna spread my wings and fly so high up above the clouds. You know that time doesn't wait for your dreams. We're living right here and now. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep chasing the sunshine and go out and play. Are you ready for it? Better take your shot. It's gonna do the things that you wanna do, yeah. 'Cause this time is the right time, baby. You're the star and this is all about you. Don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play. You know, don't wait for tomorrow. Live for today. Just keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play, yeah. Hey!
What an amazing season this has been. I was checking the dates, and it has been 7 months since the launch, a lot longer than I thought. Time really flies when you're having fun with your friends. I will be announcing shortly when the new season will happen, but I imagine it will be in a week or 2, depending on how long it takes me to set up some new stuff. I'm so grateful for how the season went, and I'm so grateful to all my supporters that made it possible and keep making my journey a reality. I couldn't be any happier with how things are going. Of course, if you also want to be part of the new season to come, you can check my Ko-fi page in the description. Tier 2 fangs and above get access to the server. But I will give more info about that and about the new season soon. For now, it's time to say one last goodbye. It's time to farewell the beautiful and amazing Jones.
I never was one for drinking and dance, but I lived by the dice and the cards in my hands. But the goddess of fortune seemed loath of the sea. There were none of the crew who was poorer than me. I was walking the deck on a cold, starry night when the shape of a spectre appeared in my sight. He said, I am Jones and I've seen your demise. I've been moved by your suffering, I will help you rise. I'm the sea and he's waiting for me down below in the bottomless chasm. I'm his sailor to be, and he's waiting for me down below, down below, down below. He said, I'll make you richest of all of your crew. In return, I require a promise from you. When your sand has run out, when your time here is through, you'll sign up for me without further ado. I complied and I signed with my blood on the line, with the thought of my life, holy gold on my mind. But I was deceived, I wish I had known that I would be richest, but also alone. I'm his fool, you see, and he's waiting for me down below in the bottomless chasm. I'm his sailor to be, and he's waiting for me down below, down below, down below. Now I'm drifting alone on an ocean so vast. The ship's wealthiest sailor, but also the last. There's a wind out of nowhere that's filling my sails. There's a sprinkling of frost building up on the rails.